Hey, just showing off the latest product we got here at Crosscades. It's the Pandora's Box Treasure 3D Edition. This is the latest 2018 Pandora's Box. And it's got 3D games on it, and you can add on your own 3D games. So some people may be asking, how do you add on these 3D games? I had some trouble with it at first myself. Basically, get a USB stick, create a folder on there called ROMs with a capital R, and then within that folder, make another folder with the title of your game, and then put your ISO in that folder. So whatever you name that folder, that's what will show up on the 3D games section here, and then it'll have your ISO inside of it. Just going to show you some games that it can run. It can play PSP ISOs, PlayStation ISOs, N64, and Dreamcast ISOs as well. So just going to basically you pop in your USB stick with the game on it, put it in the top slot, and you might have to come over to the 3D games section here and just wiggle your stick around or just move it on the list. And then boom, all of your 3D games that you put on come up. So I've got some N64 ROMs on here, Dreamcast, PSP, and PlayStation ISOs. So we'll just take a look at some of those and see how they run. So for our first game here, we're going to do Tekken Dark Resurrection on the PSP. There's some sound chopping and maybe some frame rate slowdown on the PSP ISOs, but all in all, not a bad emulation. Now, when I was recording this, I couldn't see what I was doing until a little bit later. There was some video lag, just the way I was recording it. So you may see me moving kind of weird and stuff like that. It's because I couldn't see what I was doing until a few seconds after it popped up on my computer screen. So here you go, Tekken Dark Resurrection, a little bit of audio chop. The frame rate's not bad, it's pretty good. Then you just hit pause and you can exit your games. So the next game we'll show you here is Virtual Fighter 3TB. This is a Dreamcast ISO, and a lot of Dreamcast games run really well on this, except for the few that never really ran good on any emulator, like Dynamite Cop and stuff like that. I found on Virtual Fighter you get a good frame rate, audio sounds clear, so definitely a playable emulation.
Fight one. Ready, go!
N64 ISOs run pretty good. Some have some trouble. I'm playing at Killer Instinct Gold here. It's got some audio skipping and some frame rate skippage. So maybe not a playable game, but there's definitely some playable N64 ones like Mario Kart most likely. And you can also play some Mortal Kombat games on the N64 as well, so that's cool. But you can take a look here and you can see that it's not running at full speed. But I saved the best for last, and that's PlayStation ISOs. They run really good. Super happy with the way that emulation comes out. Basically, instead of loading an ISO onto your USB stick, you have to load it in PPB format. And what that is if you had a modded PSP and you wanted to play a PlayStation game on it, you would convert it to PPP and then load it on your PSP. But there's websites out there, and that's where I got this game from, that are already converted to PPP. So you can just go search for PSP PPP downloads, and you can just download PlayStation games already converted into that format. So I was playing Tekken 3 here, and sounds great. Very minimal slowdown, like on the just before the fight starts, but very playable. So you can definitely play any PlayStation game you want on there. This game came out towards the end of the PlayStation run, so it's a great way to test any emulator, and it really runs good on this one. So happy to say that. So you can have a lot of fun with PlayStation, Dreamcast, PSP, and some N64 games too if you want. So that's what's on the Pandora's Treasure 3D. There's also 400 2D games. Sadly, you can't add on 2D games. You can only add on 3D games, or games that are for N64, PlayStation, PSP, Dreamcast. So yeah, come on down, try one out, pick one up from us here at Crosscades. We just started getting these in, and people seem to be really happy with them. So thanks for watching, and come check us out.